G'day there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, and well, now we're testing out my satellites. I'm gonna give those a try. Okay, so on the last episode, we landed the Gem 1, took it up into space, and then brought it back home to Earth safely and successfully. So now we're gonna test out my satellites. So the first kind of satellite that I'm going to try, I don't want this thing to go into an orbit around the planet. I don't need that. But I think I can do my Sat4. So this is the design. It's very basic actually. If you do want, you can pause the game, no, not the game, the video, and you can look on how this design is done. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to, jeez, the music is so wacky. Okay, so for the fuel tanks, just go down to your inventory here, and you just want to look for, where is it? It looks like something. I'm gonna assume it's this thing. I think it's that. Yeah, it's something like that, I believe. That be it? No, wait. No, that's a bit too big. Oh. Whoops. A bit too far there. Okay, so all the way down. Okay, well anyway, you'll find it. It just looks like that. So just look for a paint job that looks like that. I think I may have hit a variant color on mine, but that's okay. And then for your engines, just pick up those bobcats there, and you're good to go. And then for the upper top of the spacecraft, what I did was I took I think this is either a decoupler or a separator. Which I'm going to look on here for you here. I think I either chose one of these because it has to fit. Nope, not that one. I think I put this right around there. And then what I did was I then took a fairing, which would be either this one or this one here. I think it was this one here. And then put that on top of the separator or decoupler here. This is supposed to be an engine. So all I'm gonna say is I'm actually just gonna kind of remove this so I can show you. Okay, so what I did was you just grab a simple FT400 fuel tank, strap. What engine did I put on there? I think I put that on there, and then you just want to put a little decoupler right around the ring of the engine there, and then so then it can actually detach from wherever it is, and this will actually give you a decent amount of fuel to get your satellite into orbit. And then for the spacecraft, all I did was I took a simple probe that you can just find on pods, and it looks like the Sputnik satellite right there, that little ball. And then but first I would put a separator on the top of the fuel tank. That is a spinning wheel thing. I don't really think you need that anyway, but I just put it on there just for detail. And then you can customize this however you like. So I put the smallest antenna on there, so if you go down to, I think it's communication, put this antenna on the top, and then for your satellite dishes, or satellite rays or whatever, or panels, these ones. And then there you are. So that's, I guess, a small little brief explanation of how I built the spacecraft. So let's launch it into space again. So it took a lot of trial and error for this thing to actually work. I'm not going to launch this and put it into an orbit because I don't want it to get stuck again. So I'm just going to kind of show you guys how it all works and everything. I just don't want it to get stuck in space. Okay, so up we go. So, if you guys are going to think, well, if like the engines are not going to be able to propel it up to space good enough, that's fake news. They will. These engines are very reliable and actually have a lot of horsepower. They're like tugboats, you know? They may look small, but they can frickin' haul something that's like 10 times their size, you know? It's like an ant. So, well, an ant can carry 10 times its weight or something like that, but this thing here, these little engines, they will propel you into space, so do not worry about that. You are good. So I would wait until you do reach a reasonable altitude. A reasonable altitude, to me, is 100,000 feet. And then I will perform kind of like the roll. I don't know if I want to power on the engine because I'm not wanting this thing to go into orbit. I just want to show you how the spacecraft works. And you can take this design if you really wish. I mean, it's not bad. It will get you into orbit. This thing has a lot of fuel in these tanks, and you only need 3. Yeah, that's... yeah, so you only need 3 fuel tanks. You could add more if you wish. But yet again, that's going to cost you more weight. And more weight on those engines, it's going to mean a slower liftoff. So you're just going to want to kind of do something like 3. 3 is actually really good, because I actually managed to get this thing into orbit using those engines. Oh, well, okay, now we're kind of going off there, so now I can detach that, and then you fire this engine, and then off it goes, and all that, so that sucks. Well, that was awful. That was terrible, mate. I mean, that thing still had a lot of fuel left. Now I'm wasting it. That's a waste of gas. That's gonna cost a lot of money. Okay, now how's my orbit looking? It's looking shit. Good. I want it to look like that. I don't want to go into I want to go into space, but I don't want to get stuck up here. So right now we're just breaching the Kármán line at 200,000 feet. And that engine is gone. I think we've lost it. Yeah, it's a goner. It's still got a fuck ton of fuel left. That thing's not coming back. Oh wait, hold on, it might just be. It might just be. Yeah, okay, so I think now we've just officially lost all the aircraft now. That's a shame. Yep, I've lost them all. Yeah, that thing's not coming back to the planet anytime soon. I want to go back to my spacecraft. Yeah, I can't operate my map view. Okay, that sucks. Okay, we'll just do this again. Okay, let's try this again. That was a failure. I apologize for that. That was awful. That was not how the launch was supposed to go. Let's try this again. Oi, 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 that was awful. Okay, so I'm not even going to try to roll it. I mean, I will, but I'm not going to roll it that early. That was my mistake. Okay. Let's just get up to space. Jeez, that was awful. That was a waste of fuel. That was probably a lot of money. Launching these things off is not cheap. Well, I mean, like in real life. In the game, it don't cost you anything. But in real life, this kind of stuff, it could cost millions of dollars just to do. So, yep. But yeah, so if you guys would like, after this video here, do make sure that you leave a comment in the thing below and let me know if you guys would actually like me to do more videos like this, because I mean, I do enjoy playing this game. I do like space exploration. I am into that kind of stuff, but this and all that, you know, it's fun. Like, this game teaches you rocket science the fun way in a simulation, so that's cool. But yeah, you know, you can do a lot of cool things with this game, and I've seen some pretty crazy designs. Okay, so this dark blue thing here, that's your Kármán line. So once you pass that, you're in space. That's basically how it works. That's also the atmosphere. So the Kármán line is basically called the atmosphere, or something like that. So once you breach that, I guess you're now in space. Okay, so now we're in space. So that's how my satellite got stuck. Was my satellite got stuck 90,000 meters above that thing. So now it can't get back to the planet, which sucks. So, but I think orbits do decay over time, and eventually, because the Sputnik was around an orbit around the planet for about a year, and it was launched in 1957. I think Sputnik 1, like 1957, and then crashed back to Earth in 1958. Yeah, completed. What was it like? I mean, well, its batteries ran out after 21 orbits, but yeah, it sucked. Poor little thing. Okay, so now I can do my roll without freaking flipping around and all that stuff. So even, yeah, I would wait actually just around here, just to do your rolls or anything like that, because now it's stable, because now you're in no gravity, so the air is not gonna pick it up and spin you around. So just wait until you pass the Kármán line. I think I did it too early, so yeah, but now we're good. Now we're good. And my orbit is not good. That's good. Okay, so now around here the engines are gonna go dead. Perfect. Now we can do a proper separation. So now we can leave that big old booster behind. And now separate. So now we got my satellite out. So yeah, and this fuel tank is actually really good. This thing keeps it up for quite a while. So up here, we can actually start to open up our panels here, because now we're in no gravity, no wind. So, excuse me. If you actually speed, it's not going to do anything, because there's no drag to push these back. Because if we were on the planet right now trying to move this, going at this speed, it'd be like you taking a deck of cards and placing it in the wrong direction, well, facing the wind, because all that's going to happen is it's going to blow back. So that's what would happen to this. But when you're up here, it doesn't do anything. But these satellite dishes, or they're just panels, the satellite panels, are pretty good. Okay, so I'm not really going to give this thing a lot of power. I'm actually just going to be wasting the fuel a little bit. But give it a little bit of a go here. Let's just see how my orbit looks, because I don't want this thing going into orbit. But there we are. So now I would normally power this up to get the spacecraft into an orbit around the planet, and then after a while, I'd then cut the engine and separate the spacecraft from it, and then I would face the antenna towards the planet so we can do some transmissions. And these solar panels here will actually, every time you do a roll, these will go with the spacecraft so they can position themselves at the sun. I think one of them is not, and there we are. So after a while of sitting in space, this thing will run dead if your panels are not pointing at the sun. if you have this spacecraft just with the probe, your batteries will run dead in about 5 minutes after launch. Because there's nothing to keep the battery charged. And then, yeah. So I usually just do a little barbecue roll here just to get those little things worked up. And then you can position this facing at the sun. I'd do that. The antenna doesn't really have to face the planet 100%. I just try to face it as much as possible. And then you can do stuff up here. So for this, you can transmit your data. And yeah, so that's that. So it's a relay antenna. So that'll just tell you, like, okay, well, the thing's up there now. You can also put this thing into hibernation. That will save your batteries if you're doing like long distance sort of things, because that's what they did with a few of the space probes that they sent out to the other planets. They put it in hibernation because the battery would run dead in probably a day or so, depending on how big the probe is. So this thing here, its electrical charge is about 100% or 10. So this thing will drain dead pretty fast. So yeah, but these things are pretty cool, and you can do some neat stuff up here with these. One that I got locked in orbit is floating around here somewhere. So if we look here, looks like the spacecraft is going to re-enter the planet somewhere around here. I don't know if it's going to land in the water, it's going to land in the poles. It's going to land somewhere. Okay, so now it's coming back to the planet now. And these solar panels will not they will not retract. Once they are extended, they stay out. Which, I mean, isn't so bad, because if you're intending to keep this thing up in space, it wouldn't really matter. And then it comes to around here, where then this thing will burn up in the atmosphere, and then, yeah. So the first things to go are going to be your solar panels, of course, because they're the weakest things on this particular spacecraft, so they're just going to melt and evaporate, or vaporize in the atmosphere. There they go. There that one goes. And now there's a little ball. I have done something though where I've actually managed to get this probe to land on the planet, and it survived a re-entry, which was insane. But it's true, this thing actually did manage to survive a re-entry, and there it is, it actually managed to survive the re-entry. So I guess if you position this thing just right, it will survive the re-entry to the planet. And there you go. Now, deploying a parachute on this thing is just foolish, and you really can't, so there's no real sense. So yeah, there you have it. You can actually get this thing to re-enter the planet if you position it correctly. So I used this as a heat shield. So I guess you can use that thing as a tiny little heat shield for your spacecraft. That's cool. So you just have to position it just right. And I'm actually surprised the antenna didn't rip off either. It's just the panels that will rip off, and that's all. And then down it goes, and then it will fall all the way back down. I don't know where the fuel booster is. I think that thing's gone now. And then it will crash into the ocean and la-di-da. So that's basically that. So that's how that all works. Now, these satellite things are very easy to operate. Pretty simple to build too. So this one was easy to build. Yeah. Okay, so what else did I make that might look simple to you? Okay, so the Sat-3, this one here is a little bit of a different design. Its cone shape is a bit different because what it's carrying is this. This is the other spacecraft, and this one here is just intended for basically what I just did. This one here is not intended to get you into orbit. It could, but it's not intended to. So that's basically all this spacecraft does, is it will just do what I just did. And the design is a bit different, but you can build any kind of thing you want. Does not really matter. As long as you got a good imagination, you can build it. And if it can fly, you're good. This model, I think this is the exact same thing, except it's just the ball this time. I didn't put the antenna on it, so this is just the same spacecraft. It's nothing new, except the only thing that's different is that one there doesn't have a satellite on it. And then the Sat-1 looks like that. So this thing getting into space is just weird because you can do it, but what'll happen is before you breach the atmosphere, this will catch on fire and it'll look like it's coming in through a re-entry. That's because there's nothing to protect it, and I have no sort of thing protecting this, but it does get into space, believe it or not, it does. And these fuel tanks are so weird, and it's an individual tank, and it looks so strange. But that's basically how I started it all. And then I guess the design from the YouTuber, wherever that one might be. There it is. Looks like that. So I mean that's cool. Except if you look, there's the heat shield. He didn't put a heat shield on there. He was gonna kill the Kerbals, which is rude. Don't do that. He's gonna kill them all. But I'm gonna give this thing a try. Again, this one here is actually pretty easy to build. If you look on YouTube or something, you'll find the video. It looks like this, and it'll say like Kerbal's guide to, like a beginner's guide to building rockets, or a simple rocket build, or whatever like that. You can find a bunch of tutorials on YouTube on how to build these. It's easy. Ish. Okay, so we got a Kerbal there. And launch. So this thing will actually boost you on up pretty quickly. It's fast. Very fast. And I need my SAS to keep this thing from not fucking up. Okay, so right now it's on I think it's a wacky angle. Okay, so now the boosters will break off. And those boosters will get you up to 72,000 feet, or 72,000 meters, which is quite good actually. That's a reasonable altitude, and saves a lot of fuel for the main booster as well, so this thing could actually probably get you into an orbit, I think. So I believe to breach the Kármán line, you have to be able to get over 100,000 feet. So that means that if you were going to get above the Kármán line, you have to be able to breach 200,000 meters. That's pretty high up. Like, whoa. But now it's like right around here where you can sort of try to get that roll in, or, you know, position the spacecraft just well enough for you to get a good orbital pattern. So if I look here, I think I'm doing it properly. Yeah, so the orbit of this spacecraft is looking okay. The propellant will run out pretty soon. I think it's facing upside down. Is the capsule facing upside down? I don't know where the capsule's facing. I think it's facing upwards. Or something like that. But yeah, so that's basically how to get into space. So getting into space is the easy part. I think some of the hard parts are trying to get it into orbit and all that. But if you're frequent, I guess, Kerbal, you can do it easily. And the cockpit of this thing is supposed to be based off of the very first capsule here. This is the, well, it's supposed to be the Mercury 1 capsule. So this capsule was built before the Gemini capsule, and this is what it's supposed to be based off of. Sadly though, you cannot do mods on the PS4 version, but you can do a shit ton of them on the PC version, of course. But that's basically kind of what it looks like. If I can, I will definitely do a video on re-entry, the orbitable simulator, in some time. Okay, so now just to roll that over, and boom! There we go. So this is how Alan Shepard did it. Just went up, and well, the spacecraft did not look like that. It was just a single boosted rocket that got him up there. Okay, so now we can kind of just time warp a little bit. You can also do an EVA out here. I'm not going to do that. And this is going quite high up, and then it's going to go right back down, I think. That's how the orbital pattern kind of went. Okay, so that thing out there, I believe that's the satellite that's orbiting the planet, and then the satellite that we lost, I can't really seem to find it, but it's somewhere up there. Somewhere. Jeez, that's a really high up orbit. Okay, I'm gonna speed the time up just a bit faster. Oh boy. Okay, there we are. Time to go back into the planet. Okay, I think it's positioned. Alright, I actually kind of want to look at this as the spacecraft comes in the cockpit view. Oh, that's terrifying. I honestly wonder how it, how it would feel to go back down, because you're facing backwards. So, would it feel like you're being pushed forwards, or what? Like, because, I mean, you're not in, like, you're in zero gravity, but that's still pretty scary to think about, because all you're going to see when you come back is fire, or just that plasma going up onto your window there. That's all you're going to see. So you don't know if the thing is actually on fire, and if you're going to blow up, or if you're fine. I guess the only way to know if you really are going to be fine is if that thing goes out. And it's still re-entering the planet. Okay, there we go. Alright, it's all done. Jeez, that thing looks hot. Like, that is a red hot heat shield. Holy. Well, at least it's going to be able to cool off in the water. I actually wonder, though, if when this thing touched down onto the water, if a bunch of steam kind of rise from the heat shield, though. Well, actually, I think the heat shield was, I think they dropped it. Like, they dropped the heat shield off or something like that, off the spacecraft, or they kept it on or something like that. I think they did. Maybe not. But I do wonder, though, if, when it touched down in the water, if a bunch of steam kind of came up from the bottom of it. That'd be funny, though. Okay, well, I got the Kerbal back to the planet, so that's something. They're not dead. Whoopee. Alright, back to 45,000 feet. I'm gonna wait till about 900 or so just to deploy that the second parachute there. Oh, and it does it all by itself. It does it all automatically. Cool. This is not possible. That would not be possible to do in real life. You wouldn't be able to do that. I think the Mercury capsule did have RCS, but those probably ran out like when the thing was coming back into Earth. Like, I think they would intentionally make those RCS things run out. But it's back at the planet now, and that's good. Jesus. Such a loud smack. But we are now back home on the planet in the middle of nowhere. So now we'll just wait for an aircraft carrier to come pick us up. Alright, well, I think that just about does it for this one. If you guys did enjoy these two little videos, do be sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button so you do not, hit the bell icon so you do not miss out on any new video coming out, and subscribe so you guys can just join the whole thing. And do leave a like if you do so wish, and do let me know in the comment section below if you would like me to do more videos of this, or of re-entry, because I could do that too, because that game is pretty fun. It's more complex, but it is fun. But anyway, guys, I think that should just about do it. I will definitely talk to you guys on the next one. Do enjoy the rest of your beautiful... What fucking day is it? It's a Thursday, so enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Thank you for watching if you did, and I will talk to you in the next one. Take care.